Hi, welcome to the Divine Insight Show, and thank you so much for joining us wherever and whenever you're doing so. I'm thrilled to introduce you to this week's guest, Yoichi Utebi, who is the producer of a supernatural film, The Real Exorcist, from Japan, which touches on important topics of spirituality, suicide, and much more. The Real Exorcist was #1 at the weekend box office for 5 consecutive weeks in Japan, and the film has won over 30 awards, including Best Feature Film and Best Supporting Actress at the EKO Film Festival. Yoichi, thank you so much for joining me and welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you for having me on this show today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And you have such a rich and eclectic background personally. Can we talk a little bit about you at first and how
Sure,
you
go
got
ahead.
to where you are now? Yeah. I mean, you were, I understand you were born in Japan, but you grew up in
Yes.
Beirut and also New York. What
Yep.
was that like?
It was just amazing. I don't know where to start, but I mean, Lebanon, Beirut was just amazing place. You know, it's like a heaven. And I was raised as a Christian family. So we used to go to church every Sunday in Lebanon, and Mediterranean Sea, just beautiful people, food. I was also touched by a lot of Muslim culture. I was able to go to the mosque. You're not supposed to, allowed to, but they kind of let me in. So I experienced the mosque thing, and it was just great, beautiful. Just that the war started, you know, so we had to evacuate. So I experienced the peace, the heaven, also the hell experience. You know, we used to, the bullets were flying over us, so we had to kind of escape through the bullets. And that experience was just gave me so much impact in my life, where like I just can't, I hate to fight. Okay, I'm anti-fight. Okay, I'm anti-hatred, and I was always, you know, searching since then. I was a seeker, you know, because the impact I had in Lebanon was so huge.
Yeah, what age were you when that happened? How old were you when you needed to flee?
Second grade. So that's like what, 7 or 8, something like that, I think. Yeah.
So when you had to flee to New York then?
So I went back to Japan. We escaped to London, then went back to Japan without nothing. We left everything home because the government told us, you have to get on the plane tomorrow morning. We're like, okay, just grab whatever you can and just fly out. So that's what we did. It was actually escape, you know, evacuation from countries.
So how does that ultimately translate? I mean, now you're a producer. How did you get the inspiration for this story of The Real Exorcist?
Yeah, so actually, I'm going to be honest, the story itself was written by somebody else. Okay, the basic story. His name is Ryuho Okawa. He is the founder of one of the most influential spiritual movement in Japan today. It's called Happy Science. It's probably not heard about it in US. It's still small in US, but they're pretty big in Japan. And so he wrote this story based on his experience or his truth. I wouldn't say it's a true story, but I guess it's a true incident. So everything in this movie is truth. For some people, you might say, no, this can't be happening. For some people like you might be saying, of course it is the truth. So depending on who would watch this movie, people will be able to take it as a truth or as something really science fiction or spiritual, you know, supernatural fantasy story. Depending on the person, you can, you know, will probably receive it differently, but it's actually based on the truth. So he wrote the story, and his daughter wrote the screenplay, and a few producers got together and put this story together and transformed it into an actual live-action movie, and it's called The Real Exorcist.
Yeah, and thank you. And there's so many layers to this story. There's the interweaving concepts of suicide and understanding that, you know, as a global pandemic, suicide has been increasing. It's been increasing in the US, it's been increasing in Japan, and even more so in the last 6 months with the COVID pandemic, increase in anxiety, depression, suicide, domestic abuse, domestic violence, and everything. So Can you talk a little bit more about that as it relates to sort of
Okay.
the messages of
All
the
right.
film?
So but I mean, it's good to just set it up quickly what this movie is about. So there's a girl, her name is Sayuri. She's an ordinary girl working at the cafe, but she has this supernatural power and she's a clairvoyant, so she can see people's mind, see the past. She can also see the ghosts and spirits, and she has the power to expel them. And she has a little consultation at the cafe. So people walk by into the cafe where they have different problems, and she'll start solving one by one. And the entire movie consists of like 4 or 5 short stories put together. It all had the truth, and it kind of gives you the solution and hints to how to go about living a better life. And so that's a very, very short synopsis of the movie. So within the movie, there's one scene where we pick up the topic of suicide, because it's a huge thing, you know, around the world. Even though this movie was created over a year ago, of course, nothing was happening like this. The pandemic of coronavirus wasn't even existing at that time. But you know, even with that, you know, the suicide is always a big, big topic. So we picked that up, and what this movie, through this suicide topic, what it shows is that we human beings have eternal life. Like, we don't just disappear after we die. Even if you try to end your life because you're having such a difficult time and hardships, even if you end your life, it's not going to end. So the message we wanted to tell the people who are having a difficult time, I know it's difficult. If a person is thinking about killing and ending one's life, that is like one of the hardest things you can ever do, you know, as a human being. So we can feel it. We understand how difficult it is, but at the same time, we wanted to tell those people who has suffering, stop thinking about it for a second. Only if what happens after you die, you continue on living. Okay, where is the suffering is going to go? It's not going to disappear, but you are going to have to carry on, you know, for years and years to come. And what about all the people that you leave behind? Okay? You're going to suffer from living, you know, the suffering life after you die, but at the same time, other people, all the loved ones that, you know, that they miss you, they're going to have to suffer through the rest of their life as well. So there's nothing positive about, you know, ending your life. So those are the kind of message we want to put across strongly. You know, suicide is not a good thing to do, not just from you know, from a spiritual perspective. So I think that's that's a new view of talking about suicide prevention. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were also talking about in your what I understood is some of the drivers of suicide obviously exist, and that it's becoming more prevalent. I'm also curious around the happy science as a spiritual practice or ideology. What are the ways that people can reduce those drivers that might lead them down the path of believing that ending their life is the best option for them?
Well, I mean, the basic thing that's important is that, again, we have eternal life. Like, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced or heard about it or watched the movie out of the body experience and the souls, you know, staying after, you know, even you leave your body. And we just want to say that's true. Okay, that's the truth. So I wish people would accept that, you know, after we die, there is somewhere we're going to go back to. It's the place we go back to heaven, and there's a system of, you know, life. It's called reincarnation. It's a Buddhist way of teaching. Everybody heard about reincarnation. You probably heard of it as a story. Some people believe it, and some people don't. But you know, it's the truth. We believe it's the truth that we do reincarnate as human beings, as a spirit. So, you know, ending your life does not mean anything. It's just gonna make you even more suffer. And we believe the God, Buddha, the one higher energy, higher source, universe, and many people call different things, but let me just call God. Okay, let's make it simple.
Right.
So that God would never give us something which we cannot overcome in our life, because we are already protected, you know, in God's hand, like Buddha's hand. We are living on his hand. So whatever happens, he will not give us anything that we cannot overcome. So all the sufferings and hardships that you're going to be getting, in your life is like a workbook. We call it a workbook. And we understand, we believe that the life living on this earth is like a soul training. It's a training ground. And we have a few different workbooks in our life. Some are big and some are small. And when you hit those big ones, it's going to be a difficult one. But, that's the reason why we're here, to cultivate our soul and make ourselves better so we can, contribute better to the society. And also our souls can grow, and like get closer to, the higher existence. So that's the reason why we're here. So, killing yourself is almost like abandoning all the promises that you made, that you're going to overcome all these things, you're going to become a, stronger and more powerful soul as an overall. So don't abandon the mission that you have been giving on earth, but you have to challenge it and fight it. And sometimes you have to go over it. And like I said, God would never give us something that we cannot overcome. So those are the messages that I would be giving out to the people, from like happy science perspective.
So I would understand that to be why you wanted to include that level of spirituality in the film, the importance of using spirituality to combat the evil we might experience, or the demons that the story depicts in people. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, life is not easy. We all know that. Every single person that we speak to, all the listeners, will agree with that. Life is not easy. If life was easy, then there's no reason for us to be here. So it's going to be difficult and it's going to be challenging. But it's also because of that, it's exciting and it's fun. So, fighting against the negative energy, the evil spirits and evil energy forces is also very important, because we are surrounded by those energies as well. So we cannot be taken in by it. But sometimes we have to be strong and fight it as well. But just like Sayuri, be humble, be faithful, have a grateful heart, gratitude, all the good positive energies that we have. We fight with that. We fight with love. We don't fight hatred with hatred. We fight hatred with power of love. That's like the biggest message that we want to come across through this movie. And I think that's the work that's what the world needs today. We believe.
Yeah, thank you. And personally, I had never actually heard of Buddhism in particular being used in sort of the depossession format. And for those of you watching or listening who are unfamiliar with my work, I have done depossession work with people at the spiritual realm for many years, and it's a very powerful practice. But I had not ever sort of seen Buddhism being used like that. So is that something that was dramatized to move the story forward, or are there historical events or spiritual practices in Buddhism that support that?
Yep. Of course, I have to say there's a lot of evil spirit expelling rituals in Buddhism. There is. I mean, to begin with, when Buddha became attained enlightenment, he had to fight the devils, just like Jesus had to fight, Beelzebub. It was a devil. So when Buddha got enlightenment, he had to fight the devil to begin with. And after that, there's a lot of different sects of Buddhism. They do different ritual prayers to fight the evil spirits and things like that. So I would have to say, yes, there's the portion of Buddhism that has that kind of aspect. Not just to look within, and do the meditation and serenity, but also there's the other side of Buddhism to fight the evil spirits as well.
Interesting. I always find that fascinating because there's this, this idea around benevolence that people can misunderstand. And I think a lot of people have this idea that if I am more spiritual, or if I say for example, say happy vibes only, I only think good thoughts. I think that in some ways denies a lot of people's reality of actually
You're right.
having
That's
something
right.
that they are facing. So
Yeah.
in some ways, I think that's in part a denial
That's right.
of the
That's
shadow
right.
self or of evil that
Yeah.
exists. And so that's why I think it's so important to
Yeah.
share your story and share this information,
Right.
because you know, it can do a lot of people a
Yes.
disservice by
That's
just saying, oh, just think happy
Yeah.
thoughts
That's right.
be spiritual. So could you elaborate a bit on your thoughts around that?
Yeah, sure. It doesn't work like that in our life. You know, it just doesn't. Of course, it's important to have always winning thought and always being positive. That's very important. But if you deny or if you don't look into what's happening to you in reality and just put the lid over it and just say, oh, it's not happening. You know, no, this is not. Let's say you have cancer. You say, oh, no, I don't have a cancer. I don't have a cancer. But, you know, but if you ignore it, you know, sometimes it does disappear with the power of positive thinking. I'm not denying it. You know, sometimes the human's mind can actually, melt down the cancer, and it's true. All the miracles are happening. But that doesn't mean you should just don't think about it and look at outside. You have to face the reality. And this is the difference between like just a simple, like a power of attraction and the laws of cause and effect. So we have to, like, power of attraction is important because having a positive mind will attract good things. If you have negative mind, it's gonna attract negative, and it's the laws of attraction, and that is true. That's the truth of the universal law. But at the same time, there's another law that's called the cause and effect, laws of cause and effect. Whatever you do, you're gonna have the effect. So you take one action, and it's gonna bear a fruit either way. So you have to keep that in your mind. You know, just having a positive mindset and not doing anything about it is not gonna make you go anywhere. You have to make effort. You have to take action. You have to create the good cause. You know, keep creating a good cause. So this way you can create a better effect and better result. And you have something that is difficult and negative in your life, you have to face it and create a good cause out of those negative things or the sufferings and difficulties that you have. And that's the beauty of life, and that's why we're here. So we believe making efforts, being diligent, you know, self-help kind of mindset is very, very important together with having a positive mind.
Awesome, thank
You
you.
know
And I
what
just
mean?
want to point out for folks that are watching, obviously right behind you is the poster
That's the poster.
for the movie.
Real
And for those of
Exorcist.
you listening, if you're interested, you could check out the YouTube channel video to see the Real Exorcist. So I understand that it was released just last week. Is it in the US? Or tell me about its release and where folks can watch it.
It was released in Canada, and we just got hauled over, so we are doing very well in Canada. Also released in Taiwan. We had over 10,000 people watch in the past just 3 days. So getting a huge impact in Taiwan and Canada. United States, due to the corona situation, we're still waiting for the theater to open. So we are targeting for August 21st, 28th, or September 4th. If that doesn't work out, then we're going to come up with VOD, Amazon and iTunes, and also DVD from September 1st. So we're not going to wait. We're just going to try as much as possible during the August season, you know, to release this movie in theater. Because movies are always great to watch in theaters, of course, with a huge screen and 5.1. That's what we want the experience to be. But hey, if that doesn't work, we have to continue on. You know, so we are going to come up with a DVD and VOD September 1st. So anybody can go to Amazon, iTunes, and watch this movie. For like
wonderful. Yeah. And so where can folks find information to get updates about when the release is happening and how?
Sure. There's a website. It's realexorcistmovie.com. It's simple, realexorcistmovie.com. So if you go to that website, you get to see the trailer and all the latest information about the movie. We also have Instagram and Facebook as well. We post almost every day now. So if you're even more interested, you can follow us on those social media networks as well.
Is that also Real Exorcist movie?
Yes. Oh,
That's the handle on Instagram?
it's called the HS Productions. That's our company's name, HS Productions. But if you go
Wonderful.
to the website, there is a little link that you can link to, for the social media network as well. So.
Awesome, terrific. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about this movie or what's to come for your production company?
Oh, so yeah, of course. So this movie is a great movie. It's a fun movie. It's also entertaining, but it's also at the same time, I think it's educational from a different perspective. So you'll definitely enjoy it. All the news that I've been hearing, the feedback from the people who watched it in Taiwan, in Canada, everybody just loves this movie. So I can definitely recommend this movie to you. Also, we are coming out with a new movie in October called Twice Born. So hopefully I'll get back to your show again to explain about this movie. But so yes, even though we are having a difficult time with the corona, pandemic, we're trying to produce a movie that is positive and there's a hope for the future. And it's good, positive message that the world needs today. So please follow us up here.
Yes, of course. And thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and joining me and sharing the movie and your incredible work with our audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.